Howdy folks, Eric here, back with another Standard Brew, revisiting Jund Sagas. Video did a while back, pre-Lorwyn, so a big buff to this deck is we get shocks in these colors, Blood Crypt and Overgrown Tomb. We also get Requiting Hex, which goes kind of crazy with the Hollowmurk Sieges that we're on. So this deck, built around the idea where we get a Hollowmurk Siege on the field, we put it on Sultai. Whenever a counter is put on a creature you control, draw a card. And then whenever we play a Saga creature, or if we have a Saga on the field and we untap with it, during our main phase, we put a counter on, a lore counter, right? To generate a lot of consistent card advantage, essentially. So that's sort of the engine we're working with. The other sort of idea here is relatively low curve this time around. We're only on a few fun of one-ofs higher curve cards to maximize the hits off of our summon Brynhilders. That's pretty much the core of the deck. A bunch of removal, big sagas. We have this haste eject idea once more, where if we have a summon Brynhilder on the field and we have chapter 2 or 3 rolled down, we can play a haste eject, which closes out games and catches people off guard pretty often. We also have a single Colstoke Gear Hulk to be able to reanimate Jacked and swing in and keep it around. 2 main deck Scavenging Oozes today. Lots of graveyard relevant stuff in the meta right now. Plays pretty nicely with the Hollowmurk Siege, being able to put a counter on a creature you control during your opponent's turn to draw. A 1 of Summon Titan this time. It seems kind of good. Mill 5 cards, castable on turn 4, technically, if you have like a Summon Fenrir or Earthbender Ascension. Couple main deck Intimidation Tactics this time. 23 lands, 3 Restless Cottages, and then our sideboard, we're kind of going full nuclear. 4 Deadly Cover-Ups. We'll start with that. I think it's pretty good in, like the Sultai, against the Sultai lists right now, as well as the Simic Ouroboros lists or the Bant Ouroboros lists. And then besides that, 4 Pyroclasms for other go wide Badgermole Cub lists. 4 Duresses, couple Heritage Reclamations, and 1 more Scavenging Ooze. I had someone in my comments recently say they were interested in testing this deck out, and I said, oh, that was a fun deck. Let me run that back real quick. So here we are, updated for Lorwyn. Let's hop into some ranked matches and see how it plays out. Match number 1, on the draw. Pretty good opening hand. Happy to see us Skoos here. Lots of graveyard relevant stuff going on right now. Just go ahead and lead on this Restless Cottage, no problem. Shocks in a Watery Grave, Quantum Riddler. I'm guessing this is probably more of like a Dimir mid-range list. Yeah, we'll get our Skoos online. Pass it back to you. Anyone else kind of love the art on this? It's a little disgusting, but it's kind of like classic Magic to me, Opponent with their own graveyard hate. Okay, we'll go with our Earthbender Ascension here. Let's Earthbend this cottage. Could be relevant. This could be like the Dimir Doomsday Excruciator list. I've been running into that deck a lot lately. We have double red, we have double black. Might as well just get a bunch more green mana for our Skoos. Stock up. And I will add, I've been getting my butt whooped by the Excruciator list. Doomsday Excruciator, that's the name, right? Doomsday Demon, whatever. Let's just go for our Summon Fenrir. Try to turbo out this fully online Earthbender Ascension here. And I think I'm just going to start swinging in with the Cottage rather than commit another thing to the board or cast this Origins. Exile their more expensive thing. They could be on Deadly Cover-Up. Binked it this time. Deadly Cover-Up. That's the name of the card, because we have 4 in the deck, so I better remember what it's called. 4 mana available. Could be Enduring Curiosity. Well, I think I'll cast this Ooze and then swing with both, and then if they want, they'll no longer be able to block this Fenrir. They could block the Cottage, I suppose, but I'll get another landfall trigger. Actually, I might as well just play a land. Get a landfall trigger that way. Swing with 2 3 power creatures. They might not be on Enduring Curiosity. Like I said, kind of leaning more toward the demon idea right now, but maybe not. Bitter Triumph. Kills off the cottage. Lets me get a food. Kills off my scoos. I might as well activate this twice, I think. There's nothing else I'm really doing other than casting the front end of an Esper Origins here. I guess just once. Trigger the Landfall again. We are online with the Ascension. I think I go for an Esper Origins here. Actually, it might be safer to just hold it and double cast it next turn if they're on multiple strategic betrayals. But if they do that, then I just get to swing in with a Restless Cottage. It's probably fine if I go for this. Skip on 2 Requiting Hexes. Pretty happy about that. Pass it back to you. Deceit. Checking out my hand. Okay. Pretty good result for us. Still pretty sure they're doing the demon thing, based on what we've seen in previous matchups. Draw a card off of this Summon Fenrir. Another Summon Fenrir. Well, I'm going to go for the Cottage attack. And I get to play a Summon Fenrir anyway after that. Play a land. I guess I might as well do it proactively. How does the math work out here? I might as well do it proactively, put them at 3 if I can, so that the attack from Summon Fenrir becomes a lethal threat. Hope they don't have any removal. They do have removal. They take 3 damage. Interesting. Okay. Something tells me they have the demon in hand, and they're trying to just play toward resolve the demon and kill me on the next turn. The way they're tapping betrays that. Maybe going for a Riddler here. Caballero. Copying the Deceit. Okay. Getting rid of my Fenrir. Not the end of the world here. Intimidation tactics. I mean, this could just snipe a demon. I kind of feel like if they had a demon, though, they would have played it. I think I go Cottage. Play a land. I might as well shock myself. My life total doesn't matter. Might decide to Esper Origins here. Swing in. Exile a Bitter Triumph. No blocks. Put them to 1. I guess I might as well play an Esper Origins then. Skip on this garbage. And maybe I want to draw that Hex, though, for the Restless Reef. Probably not. Esper Origins on top. That's not bad. So we're looking pretty good through a board wipe, because we have this Restless Cottage. And then even if they play the demon, I get to swing with a trampling 6/6, which is not quite enough, but we're getting pretty close. Now, I guess I would swing with a trampling 4/4. Sorry, a trampling 5/5 and a non-trampling 5/5. I probably should Intimidation Tactics them now, but let me fire off this Esper Origins first. Summon Fenrir. Do I have enough mana to do it all? I don't think so. But I will leave the Fenrir on top. I might even leave the Hex on top. Yeah, I'll leave it like this. Let me go ahead and cast this Tactics here. There's an Unagi. Okay. Happy to take that. I think I have to swing, force a block here. And I also get to shock and play this Esper Origins. Feeling pretty good. Good game one for us here. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave the Hex on top. I'm pretty sure the only way I lose... I'm not really sure that there is a way I lose from this position, because even if they wipe the board, they'd have to have like board wipe plus targeted removal, but we know they have this stock up in hand. With these abilities on the stack here. Oh. Usually, Magic Arena, you are so inconsistent as to when you set your stops, bro. Like, sometimes it just automatically does it, and sometimes it doesn't. It's kind of crazy. Should be fine, but I do find that pretty annoying. Because I would have fired up the cottage, it would have gotten an extra 2/2 and trample. This should be enough anyway. They can fire up their reef. This doesn't really matter. Let them move to blocks. The end on the cottage. Okay. So we'll hex the Restless Reef. Might as well blight one. This way we just kill the Riddler, and now they're pretty much in top deck mode. They're dealing with my Restless Cottage, which is pretty annoying. But we have a lot of good draws. And they need to find an answer quick. They no longer have a Restless Reef. Take out my cottages. I don't think I misplayed there, but it does feel weird that they were able to survive that turn. You know, okay, the misplay is once again Arena screwing me. Well, I guess it wouldn't have made a difference. It wouldn't have made a difference. They had the piece of removal anyway. 3 steps ahead, drawing cards. They're in desperation mode. I don't believe they will find it. And we move into game 2. Nice. Good opener here. Let's bring in the Duresses. Bring in the Skoos again. Pretty solid piece here. Deadly Cover-Up's kind of interesting. Let's go down a couple hexes. Just rely on Bitter Triumph. Go down the tactics. Maybe the tactics are okay. Being able to snipe a demon before they play it. We could also probably cut some of our like top end stuff. We don't really need the Primal Odin here. Coldstoke Gearhulk seems pretty good. Titan actually does seem pretty good. I liked the Jects. Maybe the Fomos could go. They're a little bit small potatoes, and they probably have pretty good removal for it. Try it like that. On the draw, gotta mulligan this. Gotta mulligan this. Yeah, I mean, really good hand. Let's skip on the tactics. And I think we just gotta keep the triple lands here. Probably Earthbender Ascension is a little more important than the Fenrir in this position. Earthbender Ascension, in general, is better in this kind of matchup for sure, but the Fenrir is a little better defensively because it lets you, like, produce a blocker that isn't a land, you know? Like, Earthbender Ascension, Earthbending means that you're likely, if you're casting this on turn 3 especially, right, going to produce a tapped Earthbent land, which can't block that turn. And, like, just being able to have access to a blocker when you need it is pretty important, I think. I'm going to go for the Duress here. I'm kind of feeling like they've got, like, a 3 steps ahead. I want to land this Earthbender Ascension. Just want to suss out their hand first here. They might decide to counter this. Double 3 steps ahead. This hand's pretty funny. All right, we'll take a 3 steps ahead here. Hollowmurk Siege is a real problem for them because their counter magic is good against it, but eventually they're going to run out of counter magic, right? And a handful of removal means that I'm like 2-for-1ing every exchange. So let's force them to counter this while they just get the counter element off of it and not the draw discard. And then hopefully we draw into some relevant stuff. I mean, this is pretty good. I don't have anything to exile. I think I'm just going to pass here. I'd rather be able to like immediately exile a creature after playing this to get some advantage out of it. Bitter Triumph. Pass it back. Like, now at this point, we're looking for any of our Saga creatures, really. Restless Cottage is not bad. They blow up the Restless Cottage. Fair enough. We'll grab a... We have double red, double... Yeah, we'll probably need a black source here. A little far away from this Gear Hulk. Slightly closer now. There's another Hollowmurk Siege. Well, go for that, I guess. Once we start landing our Sagas, we'll be getting some big draws. River Regent, drawing, discarding. They have a bit more inevitability than we do, so us like playing this draw-go game I think benefits them quite a bit more than us, but we don't really have an option. They're clearly chock full of removal. Having to mold a 5 is a little rough. We'd have a little more material to work with. Hollowmurk Siege, huh? Alright. Do we just go all in on this? I kind of think maybe we have to. Little awkward. It's what we got. There's maybe an argument for like running out the Skoos to be able to follow up the Gear Hulk. Gear Hulk puts a finality counter on something, we get to draw then. They bounce a Siege. Make us discard here. I mean, if they make us discard the Skoos and we get to Coalstoke Gear Hulk, we're feeling pretty okay. Just gonna kill the Deceit here. It sets up their Caballero, but it is what it is. Summon Brynhilder. Okay, it begins. Yeah, we can tap like that. I think that's okay. I don't think I need to play the second Hollowmurk or the third Hollowmurk Siege quite yet. I'd rather draw into some action here like that. That's pretty good. Go for a Duress. Hope they don't have a big demon situation. Caballero. It's just a bunch of stuff. Deadly Cover-Up. What would they even cover up here? I don't think we care about the Deadly Cover-Up. I think I'd rather just take the Consult the Star Charts. Maybe just play another Siege here. Because now they have to deal with this Brynhilder. And then I get to... Oh no, I guess I don't get to resolve the Fenrir because it was exiled off the Brynhilder, but I get to resolve this Coalstoke Gear Hulk at the very least. Although they get to take it with the Caballero. Yeah, I don't know. This could play out fine still. They have a bunch of removal, but no clear path to win the game right now. Esper Origins is kind of a sick draw. I have a feeling they might deadly cover up the Esper Origins out of my deck. We'll take an Earthbender Ascension. And we'll take a land. I guess I'll switch the order on this so they have a little less information. Reveal the land to them and draw the Ascension off the Sieges. Value. Requiting Hex, last unknown card. Pretty good for us. Pretty good for us. Happy to draw this Siege. Yeah, we're kind of a nightmare for them to run into a little bit as far as like the amount of value we're able to generate just by playing our creatures. Go for a Duress here. Beats a counterspell. Yeah, take the Deadly Cover-Up. Most annoying thing to deal with long term, I think. Might as well play another Siege, although is decking ourselves like a very real possibility here? It might be. Go for the Ascension. Earthbend a Forest, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I'm supposed to attack for 2. I'm pretty sure they're just going to kill this anyway. absolute nightmare for them. We will eventually deck ourselves. I guess I just kill this Caballero. Do it before they have recourse. I'll just pay 3 life. Absolute nightmare material, and they scoop it up. Okay. Yeah, sounds about right. Triple Hollowmurk Siege, and a bunch of value right after that. Handful of removal, no way to escape. Sounds good. Let's move it on to the next one. Match 2, on the play. Gotta put that one away. It's close. The fact that we don't have green and lots of green requirements is a little rough, but I'll keep it. A little risky. Lead on a Verge. See what we're up against here. Okay, this matchup. We'll take the Wistfulness, probably. I could just deal with the Caballero forever. Wistfulness is a little annoying against what I'm doing, though. I just take the Wistfulness. Now that's, like, this hand is a little garbage now. Very dependent on them drawing some action. Same with my hand. I just need to hit a green source. Oh, there's a Summon Brynhildr. We'll go for that. Hopefully we hit a green source on top here. Bitter Triumph. Play a land for turn. Pass it back to you. They might just kill this off. They decide to kill it off. Discarding an Arden. Okay. All right, buddy. Oh, whoa. Slow your roll. I mean, we have a Bitter Triumph for that, but pretty scary. Huge draw. Let's go for the Siege here, because I can discard the Esper Origins to this Bitter Triumph. Like, say they tap out for their Caballero situation. It all plays out very nicely for me, ultimately. Deceit. Taking a look at my hand here. I think I'm supposed to just, like, Bitter Triumph this, as weird as it sounds. Because they're just going to take my Bitter Triumph, and then I'm kind of left with no recourse. But if I Bitter Triumph preemptively, I get to put this Esper Origins in my graveyard. It's a little weird. They're going to take my Bitter Triumph anyway, right? In this scenario, I get to guarantee cast this next turn. Earthbender Ascension. It's probably better to go for the Esper Origins. I might be able to set up some creatures in my graveyard. I mean, they're not doing the demon thing, they're doing the Arden thing. Although, yeah, I think this makes the most sense. Summon Primal Odin. I'll take that as a draw. So we'll draw this land, play it. Sorry, reveal the land. Draw Summon Primal Odin. Kind of a huge answer to their next turn. Play a tapped Overgrown Tomb. I could maybe hold it for this Earthbender Ascension, but it's probably better to play it in case they, like, kill the Esper Moduin. And maybe I draw a land and have 6 for Odin. So they get one thing back, but I can beat one thing, you know? And now their Arden is permanently exiled. But they take my Brynhildr. So they kind of have 2 things. That's pretty good for them. Add double green. Draw a card. There's a forest. Yeah, I just have to go for the Odin here. It's a little rough that they get to Brynhildr. The Wistfulness. Maybe I'm supposed to kill. Maybe I'm supposed to kill the Brynhildr. Because all they can get right now is Deceit. And actually, if they kill my Primal Odin with Wistfulness, I'm pretty sad. But if I untap with this Primal Odin, I get to give it Trample with Esper Moduin and might just kill them with the second chapter. Whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, that player loses the game. Especially if I... At the very least, I'm going to be able to, like, force them to block with the Arden, I think. Formidable Speaker. Kind of huge for them, depending on what this unknown card is. They could, like, discard this, find one of their... They could find their Wistfulness, cast a or evoke a Wistfulness, kill my Odin. Yeah, that's pretty good for them. Oh, they go for Overlord of the Hollowmurk. Interesting. Maybe I was supposed to kill the art in there. I don't know. I didn't like how things, like, developed in the short game. I was kind of thinking more long-term, like, maybe if I leave it for a turn, I get to win the game, you know? We'll see how it plays out. Another Arden. Pick up a Deceit, which they can't play. Tapped Breeding Pool. Bring back a Bookworm. See if they realize what's going on here. Vis-a-vis swinging with a trampling 7/5 player Death Toucher. And I think they realize. Okay. Draw a card. I don't get to quite activate this Earthbender Ascension to give this a little boosty, but I'm kind of close. Let's play out our stuff here. I think I probably should swing anyway. Although, drawing 2 cards next turn is kind of nice. But if I swing and they have to block, it'd be nice if I could, like, give this Death Touch. You know what I mean? Death Touch Trample. What's better, taking them off of the Bookworm now, or drawing 2 cards next turn? It's probably taking them off of the Bookworm now. Gives them less options. Although they get to then return Primal Odin with Cavallero, and I don't want that. I don't want that at all. So maybe we just pass. Cast a Deceit. Bouncing Primal Odin. They don't want me drawing cards. Make me discard Primal Odin. Okay, nasty. And then they get to reanimate it. Yeah, a little too far behind. My Primal Odin Gambit did not work out perhaps as I had hoped. Bring in some Graveyard Hate. Bring in the Deadly Cover-Ups. Let's go down the Requiting Hexes. I don't think we need them at all. Keep the Bitter Triumphs. Go down on... I think all of our, like, self-mill / graveyard stuff is pretty good. We might go down Primal Odin just because it's such a detriment for them to be able to reanimate it. And it's, like, not that good in this matchup otherwise. And then we could maybe cut a couple Hollowmurk Sieges. They just have a lot of good main deck answers to this. Kind of 2 mana do nothing sometimes. I know it's like our core card, but I don't know. Maybe it's crazy to cut that. Yeah, maybe it's a little crazy. We'll see. Game 2. On the play. Yeah, pretty good hand. Graveyard Hate, Hollowmurk Siege situation. Set up the Skoos with an Overlord here. Need to draw a red source to really make this complete, but pretty good hand. Swamp is not bad. Let's go ahead. I think I want to lead on the Siege here. This plays around them, like, deceiving it away. Although if they do, like, evoke a Deceit, they get to take the Skoos, which is kind of the reason to be playing the Siege. We'll see what they do. Okay, Cavernous Souls on Human. This could be huge for us. Cast a Bookworm. Draw a discard. Come on, put a creature in the graveyard. You know you want to. Glarb. Calamity's Augur? Let's go for the Skoos. They're going to have to deal with this. I might as well exile this now. I'll just pass. There's not really a world in which they're on stab anymore with the Requiting Hex being printed. Draw a discard, see what they get rid of. Probably not something important at this point. And it kind of seems like maybe they don't have removal for my Skoos. Exile Glarb. Draw a card. Crazy stuff, man. Alright, let's go for a Bailmerk here. I think that makes sense. We get to continue to hold up Skoos, and maybe we can put a creature in the graveyard for Skoos to work with. Might as well swing for 3. Go for a Bailmerk. Missing our land drop is a little rough here, but still in a pretty good spot. Skoos in the graveyard. I mean, you don't give up on backup Skoos. You got to take the backup Skoos. It's too important. Awaken the Honored Dead. Exile Skoos. Fair enough. Nothing to be done about that. Swings for 2. They know I have backup Skoos. I'm going to play backup Skoos. We can always just exile my own Skoos if they don't put anything relevant in the graveyard. Spell Snare, good to know. Awaken the Honored Dead. Well, I could Bailmerk back my own Skoos in this position, but I think because I'm missing land drops here, it's a little more important. And I have like this Deadly Cover-Up to cast if things really go awry. I think it's important to exile this Skoos. And actually, this Skoos is dying, so I might as well do this anyway, because I can just pick up this Skoos with the Bailmerk if I want to. But I might just go for Summon Fenrir next turn. They don't have a whole lot of action going on. Gets me up to 5 mana, probably, to be able to like cast this Deadly Cover-Up. Arden in the graveyard. Hollowmurk Siege. Yeah, I think I gotta go for the Fenrir here. I could also consider just leaving up removal. That doesn't feel very good. Play it. Grab a mountain. Go to discard. We can put this Esper Origins in the graveyard, or we could put like a big creature in the graveyard if they have the like full demon combo. Esper Origins probably makes the most sense, because if they do the full demon thing and not like just a strong Arden play, Deadly Cover-Up is still, you know, pretty good. Mill some cards. Gets to grab something here. Grabs a Bailmerk. Grabs a Bailmerk. Intimidation Tactics. Well, they're going to see my Deadly Cover-Up. They're going to read my Ject, because they've never seen this card in Constructed before. They take my Scavenging Ooze, fair enough. Plays the Caballero. They fear no Deadly Cover-Up. Wow, they really fear no Deadly Cover-Up, huh? They're thinking about taking my Skoos. Okay, well that's fine. I'm going to leave my Fenrir in play. I mean, I guess I don't get a choice if they don't swing at the Bookworm. Give myself another chance to draw into a land off of this Hollowmurk Siege. But I'm definitely going to go for the Deadly Cover-Up here, if I get to. No reason to leave all of this around. Esper Origins. Come on, land. Not a land. Okay, well, we can Bitter Triumph the Caballero. And then Heritage Reclamation something. Heritage Reclamation, whatever they target off of Awaken the Honored Dead. That's probably okay. The Skoos is really beating me down here. Maybe I have to play the Esper Origins. Like, do I die to anything? I guess if they mill the demon, the big demon, the Archfiend, I think I have to play the Esper Origins. I kind of feel like maybe the There's a Coal Stoke Gear Hulk. I think I'm going to draw that rather than put it in my graveyard. I don't want them to access it off of the Caballero. There's some nefarious things they could do there. Play a land. I kind of just feel like my only out here is Deadly Cover-Up. I guess they get to get the Deceit back, grab my Deadly Cover-Up, but I think just hitting our land drops is just more important in general, too. They got their Overlord of the Bailmerk back. Kind of makes sense. Hardcast Deceit. Bounce my Esper Origins. Grabs my Deadly Cover-Up for sure, right? Yeah. Yeah, maybe I should have thought about that. Skipped on the Coal Stoke. A lot to think about here. A lot of angles that this deck has now. I have to block. Yeah, and not having an extra draw here is a little rough. Yeah, maybe I didn't play this the best. I think I made some real mistakes in this game specifically. Oops. Oops. A lot to think about in that one. Let's move it into game 3. To be a little more fair to myself, I mean, I missed how many land drops? You know, I was stuck on 4 mana for how long? And like after redraws and redraws, I just missed, you know. So I had a pretty good line, like a game-winning line, which was get up to 5 lands and cast the Deadly Cover-Up and be in a pretty strong position, but that's Magic, baby. That's how it works sometimes. Restless Cottage on the play for match number 3 here. Having fun with the deck. I mean, I love a graveyard grindy sort of deck. If you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, I think you probably know that by now. Love to play a FOMO and discard an Esper Origins. Feels good every time. Probably some kind of Azorius or Jeskai control. Swing in. I think I can just play a Scooz here. They might counter this. They counter it. Tap Stomping Grounds. Not a big deal for us. Seam Rip. Let's see if they have a counter for the Esper Origins here. They could have like a Spell Snare for this. Another No More Lies. Well, that's 2 down. Land. Okay, I'm going to go for fire up the Restless Cottage here. And then next turn plan to double Esper Origins. Get lost. Fine. Summon Fenrir. That's not bad. Let's go for that. We can put our maps onto this. And then gives us enough mana to double Esper Origins next turn. Grab. We have double red and double black, so green source is probably the best at this point. Go for a map. What say you? Map is good. How about second map? May I interest you in a second map? Ooh, Hollowmurk Siege. We'll take it. Coil and Catch. Classic. Well, the grind factor is strong with us. We'll see if it's enough to outgrind their forms of card advantage. Shocks themselves. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What could that possibly be? Like a big Wanshi-Tong? 5 power Wanshi-Tong? I mean, I'm going to swing. I'm pretty happy to like discard this Esper Origins to the Bitter Triumph. Play a Hollowmurk Siege. Spell Snare. Okay. I'm going to shock myself here. Cast the front end of this Esper Origins. Play around third. No More Lies. Skip on some lands. Pass it back to you. Feeling pretty okay right now. Kind of curious to know if they're on Jeskai and they're missing red, or if it's straight up Azorius. Jacked, huh? Pretty solid in this matchup. Let's see if we can do the thing with Jacked. But I'll just lead on this Esper Origins first, see if we can draw into a Brynhildr. 3 steps ahead. Without the draw. I guess I play around No More Lies again. Is kind of the vibe I get from that. There's their red source. Huge for them, but they play it tapped, which is kind of interesting. Go for eject. Reluctant Guardian. They're reading my cards. There's another 3 steps ahead. Interesting. Okay. Well, I might as well hold on to this land drop in case I draw another FOMO. Or an Earthbender Ascension or what have you. Double land drops in a row. A little rough. Jeskai Revelation's pretty big for them right here, but they also have this Quarry Mountain Monastery, which is pretty annoying. I kind of feel like I played this about as well as I could, but they are definitely turning a corner. Maybe I could have been a little more patient with my cards. I'm gonna go ahead and try to kill this. Summon Brynhildr. Pretty good draw. See what we hit here. Summon Primal Odin. Okay. Maybe I can just get him next turn. That'd be kind of crazy. Get lost. Fair enough. Unfortunately, you can't do like a fun thing with Brynhildr where you swing with like a hasty Primal Odin out of nowhere. Because it would just enter with Chapter 1 on the saga, you know? So you can't like hasty one-shot your opponent with Chapter 2. Esper Origins in the graveyard off of my map? Yo. Well, go for that. Jeskai Revelation is a decent response to this, but the little bit of life gain that I'm getting here is pretty nice. I guess they could return the Esper Origins to my hand on the stack. I want both of these things. It's probably more important to just draw the Restless Cottage right now, so I can play it this turn. Play a cottage. Let's go ahead and swing in. I am anticipating Revelation, but maybe not. Unagi. Well, I can pay the ward here. I'll go for that. See if they have any recourse. They do not. Double Bitter Triumph. Coming in clutch. Hit ya. With a hasty FOMO threatening next turn. Day of Judgment. Okay. Alright. Maybe we are in this. Fire up the Restless Cottage here. Go for a map. Try to kill him over the course of some turns. Plus, if I get a counter on the cottage here, saves it from a future Coalstoke Gearhulk. Okay. Saves it from a future 4 damage from a Jeskai Revelation. Doesn't really matter what we exile here. I guess I probably should have left the creature for my Scoozes in the future. Small optimization. Quarry Mountain Monastery activation. Land. Huge for us. Well, we get to play this FOMO. And then plan to cycle this Intimidation Tactics later. We're kind of in it. Really depends on whether they hit their Revelation soon. Might as well crack this food token. Say they have Revelation, right? 1, 2. Do we have enough mana to double cast this Gear Hulk? Red, 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 red. Black, 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 black. And a couple extra? Yeah. So we could, like, threaten some big time stuff here. Let's see if Auto Tapper's being smart. Go for the Gear Hulk. So they go for the Revelation. Resolve. Bounce the spell. See if we can resolve this Gear Hulk. Did you draw No More Lies? Yeah, that's pretty annoying. Alright, we're still in this, though. I mean, I think that was okay to try that. I don't know. You can't play around everything, you know what I mean? Play a Brynhilder here. Another Brynhilder. Nice. Another Brynhilder, huh? Is that better than... Yeah, it's probably better than firing up the Restless Cottage. Summon Fenrir, huh? They could just have a Wrath, but I'd rather make them use it, and it's not like I get to keep this Fenrir around if they do Wrath. Triple Brynhilder into Summon Fenrir, kind of nice. See if they decide to counter this. It'd be kind of weird if they did. I guess they could Jeskai Revelation it. If they have another Jeskai Revelation, that's pretty rough for us. Jeskai Revelation. They bounce Fenrir back to my hand, which means I get to keep it around, interestingly enough. Is there a world in which it's right to Intimidation Tactics them? I kind of feel like the only creatures that are on are like the Unagi and maybe River Regent. Does River Regent lead to a lethal here? I'm going to go for the tactics. See if I soul read them. Tishana's Tidebinder. Okay. No value. No value on my tactics. Good to know what's in their hand. Pass it back to them. Yeah, these prowess tokens, they're going to get me. They're going to get me. I think I'm pretty guaranteed to be dead here. Double. Okay. Definitely dead. Good game. Yeah, it was grindy. We had a window. They managed to eventually draw into the Revelation, and everything worked out for them. Take out the tactics. Take out the removal. Bring in the Heritage Reclamations for Rest in Peace. And then Scavenging Ooze is a pretty decent creature, I think. We probably still want 2 Bitter Triumphs. Maybe go down a land because it's such a grindy matchup. Does that logic ever hold? I don't know. Maybe we can skip on the extra scoos. Just try it like this. Alright, decent hand, lands and spells. If there are any professional Magic players watching, let me know your thoughts on that. Does it make sense to go down... Frank Karsten demonstrated that it's mathematically correct to cut a land often. Maybe not always, but often if you're on the draw. But does it make sense to go down... Like, can you apply the same logic if you're on the play, but you're against a matchup, like, again, in a match where the game is almost guaranteed to go long? Because you're going to hit your land drops on a long enough timeline, right? Authority of the Consuls. Okay. Hollowmurk Siege. It's probably more important to just play this Baelmerk than the Hollowmurk Siege. Enters tapped. Hit a Fenrir, that's pretty good. Because they will have to deal with this Baelmerk eventually. Land. Esper Origins. Do I cast anything here? Yeah, I think maybe I just cast this Fenrir that I just drew. Because I want to resolve this Hollowmurk Siege eventually. Okay, resolves is huge for us. Opens up our mana quite a lot. Let's make sure we have double red for the future. We have all of our mana, all of our colors online. And we know they don't have a counterspell here. Crazy stuff. They could have a board wipe. Let's go for Hollowmurk Siege. Pretty huge if we get this on the board. And then we can like cast this Esper Origins to set up our future draws. And if they're banking on just like wiping our board, this like plays out really terribly for them. We'll keep a duress on top here. Huge keep from our opponent for us. This is gonna be pretty bad for them, I think. They do manage to answer my Hollowmurk Siege. We draw off the Fenrir. Gonna duress them. See what they have going on. Jeskai Revelation, get out of here. Yeah, just play a Ject. See if you can do anything about it. I mean, if this hits them, it's really huge for us. The Reluctant Guardian. Final Fantasy X. He's your, like, fake dad or whatever, and then he turns out to be a bad guy? Question mark? I don't know. I only played maybe the first 3 hours of the game. I did like the sphere grid, though. Swing in. Flip my Ject. They have a Tidebinder for this? That's fine, dude. That's no problem for me. If I play Primal Odin and they draw a board wipe, it's bad. So I think I just play like a Scoot or Esper Origins here, and then if I really need to, I can Primal Odin the Tidebinder next turn. I'm gonna go for the Esper Origins here. Draw a Hollowmurk Siege. That's pretty big. They have a Seam Rip for it, but they can't Seam Rip both Hollowmurk Siege and the Esper Moduin. Play a land. Pass it back to you. Baelmerk untapped. On the field. Seam Rip. No board wipe. Unless they have a board wipe. There's the Seam Rip. Did you draw a Day of Judgment? Torpor Orb. Okay, shuts down my Primal Odin. Not bad. Go ahead and start swinging in. Beats. Trade off the Ject. Exiled the Jeskai Revelation. Not sure how relevant that is, but get it out of here. Esper Origins in the graveyard. Huge value. Let's take the Brynhilder for the future. I don't think I'm going to cast it with the Torpor Orb on the field quite yet. I think I can just kind of hold here. Yeah, I think I can just pass. No, I might as well get another body on the field. We'll play the FOMO. We don't have to discard anything here because of the Torpor Orb. Pass it back to you. They don't gain life, interestingly enough, because of the authority of the consoles. Sorry, they don't gain life from the authority because of the Torpor Orb, which is kind of interesting. All right, that worked out really nicely for us. Let's run that back. We could cut a land here on the draw. Probably just like a Stomping Ground. Go up the Scoos. Try it like that. Match 3 on the draw. Great hand. Pretty much exactly what we want to see. Early siege. A lot of good action. Could use a duress, but that's okay. I won't be too picky. Yeah, I'm going to go for the siege, I guess. I could just like cycle the Heritage Wreck on their turn. I could also just cast a Brynhilder here. Cast an Esper Origins. Maybe I go for the Esper Origins here. I need to hit land drops. If they counter this, it's like, fine. Well, there's land drops. Let's go Swamp on top so that I can like play the Brynhilder next turn, play the Overgrown Tomb off the Brynhilder, and then I'm kind of set up, stock up. Them tapping out for a stock up is kind of huge for us here. We're threatening the turn 4 haste eject situation if they don't have any answers to that. We're hitting our land drops, and we have a pretty solid hand. I think it makes sense to go for the Brynhildr over the Siege here. Just threaten the possibility of doing the haste eject thing. It's pretty good. Plus, we know we have this land on top to get the immediate value out of this. These have been some grindy matches. I mean, partly my fault, being the deck that I'm on, but my opponent's decks have all been very grindy as well. Do I go for the haste eject here? I don't think so. I'm just going to, like, bait out some counter magic, I guess, with this Hollowmurk Siege. I think that's okay. I'll go ahead and swing in. They could also be repping Tidebinder for my eject. Annul the Hollowmurk Siege. Okay. I have no recourse for this. Also, I can go for eject next turn if they like decide to tap out for something. Repping the Unagi. I'm going to go for the Heritage Wreck. Try to hit my land drops. And then also, I think I'm just going to jam the eject next turn, because if what they have is Unagi, eject having Menace means they can't block this. There's a land, that's good. And then if they, like, use 3 steps ahead on this, it puts it in my graveyard for the Colstoke Gear Hulk. No more lies. Well, okay. Bye forever. Cottage. Pass it to ya. Set up for this Titan next turn. Die's pretty hard to annul, if that's what they manage to scrounge up. Yeah, we are pretty weak to annul. Feels pretty bad casting a 5-mana spell that gets countered by a 1-mana card. I'm going to go for the Brynhildr here. Play around No More Lies a little bit, and then I can follow it up with the Fenrir if I want to. Another eject. That's pretty good. Let's go for the Fenrir here. See if they decide to No More Lies this. 3 steps ahead. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. So they're at Jeskai Revelation range. Helix the Brynhildr to deal with the eject forever. No lands in the graveyard. I don't really have a great way to play around much of anything. I guess I could play around a null by casting this Esper Origins over the Titan. Try to set up this Gear Hulk for the future. Summon Primal Odin. I guess I'll take it. Could be relevant. Play a tapped land. I don't think there's a reason to hold up the Bitter Triumph here necessarily. I guess they could have like boarded in Elspeth's maybe as something to consider. There's also kind of something to be said for keeping our life total high in this matchup against what is essentially a glorified burn with extra steps kind of deck. Torp Orb on the field. I'm going to fire up... If I fire up the Cottage and shock myself... Maybe I just play the Primal Odin. Just shock myself and play the Primal Odin. I kind of like that. I don't need the trigger anyway, and the threat of this, like, just killing them next turn is kind of real. Outside of them maybe having a board wipe or No More Lies or something. Play around the Unagi here. Sorry, not No More Lies. Get Lost is what I was thinking. Alright. Torpor Orb, huh? Yeah, pretty good in the meta right now. Pretty good in the meta right now. We're kind of at a weird place where it's like... There's actually a decent amount of effective hate in the meta for us right now because we are a graveyard deck with a lot of enter the battlefield effects, which is what the Sultai elementals list is kind of doing, you know? Duress is kind of a nice draw. Let's Go for the duress here. See what you got going on. Love to be able to snipe a Revelations. Okay, no more lies. We can play around that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We can flash in the Unagi. Their hand's pretty annoying. I'll just take the Get Lost. If I play this Titan, do they even counter it? I guess they would. I can't fire up the cottage. I just have to play into Bitter Triumph this Unagi, I suppose. Coil and catch makes sense. Makes sense. May my next 2 matches be mono red. Land. Well, that lets me play around No More Lies. Go for the Titan here. Actually, it probably makes more sense to go for the Gear Hulk. Something that's just going to stick around that they have to deal with. But if they have Jeskai Revelation in their hand at this point, which is pretty likely, I kind of don't think I can win anymore. Unagi. Pass it back to you. Aang's Iceberg. Okay. Hits me for 5. Untap. Draw. Summon Brynhildr is not drawing cards, so let's go for that first, and then I can lead into the Bitter Triumph, using this Brynhildr to help pay the, oh, wait. Oh, it's not an enter the battlefield effect. Oh. Some of them are, but this one does not say... What? It's not an enter the battlefield effect. It's the act of putting the counter on it that triggers it. So, oh. Huge knowledge boost for me. Great to know. Wow. Anyone else think of that? I'm sure there's some people in my watching right now that are yelling at me like, Torpor Orb doesn't do shit against your sagas. Okay, well, great to know. We're learning. Let's go for this Bitter Triumph, I suppose. Actually, it makes more sense to go for the Esper Origins now. Just to make sure I get this in my graveyard. Huge game. Double Esper Origins for the graveyard with the Overlord on top. Now, I do think... This is a layers situation. Does Torpor Orb turn off the... Does Torpor Orb turn off impending overlords? I'm not really sure. Consult the star charts. Interesting. Okay. Well, we learned something. And maybe you learned something out there too. Maybe you, like I, assumed... I guess nowhere does it say enter the battlefield. Interesting. It just feels like an enter the battlefield effect. You know what I mean? It just feels like that. Good to know. Shocks themselves. Swing it in. No blocks. Cast a River Regent. It's a big guy. Pass it back to me. Draw. Gestalt mode. Well, No More Lies continuing to be a pain. If I play this Esper Origins and hit a land drop, I think that's probably the best outcome for me here. Duress. Skip on both of these. There's a land drop. Try to kill the Bitter Triumph. Or sorry, try to kill the dragon here. Pay 3 life. They might have a 3 steps ahead. Are they going to copy their River Regent? That's a pretty quick way to win the game. Yeah, they probably should have just copied the River Regent. Impend. Try to impend an Overlord. Let's learn something here if they don't counter this. They do counter it. They get the Demoralize out of their hand, but that also means I don't have to play around it anymore. Crack a map. Summon Fenrir. Skip on that. I don't think that's doing too much for us here. But now I can block the Unagi. They have quite a bit of damage in the air. Seam Rip on the Moduin. I don't think I'm out of the game quite yet. Really kind of depends on the next couple draws here, but I'm taking a pretty big chunk in the air. Block. Go down to 3. Dead to a lot. Crack some maps. Land. Crack a map. Day of Judgment. Skip on that. Makes sense. We draw. Summon Brynhildr. That's probably not a horrible start. Well, I do have to cast an Esper Origins, I think. And this has reach. So maybe that's an option as well. If I do that, I can block the Regent and block the Unagi, but I'm taking too much in the air still. So I think I have to start with the Esper Origins. Last card is a Spell Snare? Oh no! Alright, GG's. I guess we'll see what we hit off this Brynhildr, but yeah, tough matchup. Tough matchup, folks. Very fun. In some ways, very not fun in others, but I think out of all of this, just learning about that interaction between Torpor Orb and, you know, by extension, Doorkeeper Thrall and the Saga creatures, happy to have that knowledge boost, so we'll just take that away, I suppose. Match 4. On the play. Pretty good hand. Can't cast this Siege right away, but I like that we have this early interaction and the mana to support it with the Skoos, which, once again, I think is pretty good in the meta right now. Eject is here too. Eject is here too. I think there's a version of this deck where you take the cute stuff out and just play, like, think 2014, 2013, 2015 modern Jund style. Keep the curve very low. You play, like, you could just, like, play 4 Scavenging Oozes or 4 Keen-Eyed Curator as your sort of Tarmogoyf. Maybe you don't even need the red at that point. And you just go, like, heavy interaction and rely on the Hollowmurk Siege plus Fenrir, Earthbender Ascension as sort of like your enablers, which are also just very, like, good grindy cards in general. I don't know what you do with all the extra mana at that point. Maybe you, I don't know, maybe you play, like, Ice Till and Esper Origin still. Wastewood Verge. Speaking of Earthbender Ascension, I think it's probably a little more important to go for the tactics blind than this Skoos. What do we want to take them off of? I don't really care if they deceit me too much. Formidable Speaker is maybe the most annoying thing they could be doing here. But they can just get... Oh no, it exiles. Okay. Could take the Overlord. I'm just going to take them off the Speaker, which is guaranteed Caballero if they want it. They have a lot of good 2-mana options anyway. Hard to really break up their turn 2 play. Another Speaker in the graveyard. There's a land. Kind of huge for us. I think in this matchup... I think I want to get the Earthbender Ascension online so that I can play the Skoos next turn and hold up the green for it. And I can also Earthbend this Restless Cottage, which is kind of huge. Kind of forces them to hex it. So they hex the cottage and then I can Skoos. I guess if they hex the cottage in my upkeep, they're kind of denying some mana for me, which is a pretty good option for them. Cast the Hollowmurk. Well, they hit their kind of nut mill here. See if they have the foresight to hex in my upkeep. They do not. So we cast a Scooze. So this forces them to... They're going to have to hex right now, but at the very least I get to exile the Bringer of the Last Gift out of their graveyard. So it all kind of works out okay. Go for the hex. I would imagine they should blight. Kill off their town greeter. Deny the Bringer. And now we have a Restless Cottage, which they will have to deal with as I continue to eat away their options. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe the list looks like you just play like 4 Restless Cottage, you cut the red completely. Just play a strict Golgari mid-range list. But at that point, it's hard not to argue for the inclusion of Badgermal Cub and Ouroboros, other than the fact that maybe, like, you know, as far as threats go in outside of go-wide lists, like strictly go-wide lists, Ouroboros is kind of easy to kill. You know what I mean? Dies to removal without garnering any real value, so it doesn't really give you any points against grindy, control-y decks with a lot of removal. I should probably kill this Bookworm. I probably shouldn't have let them trigger it, but we'll see here. Too busy walking and talking. Discards a land. Yeah. No need to compound one mistake with another. Let's just go ahead and kill this guy off. Hollowmurk Siege, jacked. I want to swing. I think I'm... I mean, I guess they don't even really have anything good to do with the Deceit right now. Maybe I, like, play the Hollowmurk Siege and then Requiting Hex the Town Greeter. Blight onto my Restless Cottage for a draw. And I can just, like, do that on their turn and hold up this Bitter Triumph in the meantime. I could also Hollowmurk Siege for the Menace Counters mode, but I think long-term that's probably a mistake. Let's just do this and pass. There aren't really any key targets I need to hit in their graveyard quite yet, anyway. Caballero, mana, online, Cavern of Souls, Overlord. Overlord, huh? Hard cast? Okay. Can pick up another Caballero. Can pick up a Wistfulness. Could pick up a Bookworm. I think they're going to go for the Formidable Speaker here. That makes sense to me, too. Grabs a Wistfulness. Okay. Also seems pretty good. Let's go ahead and kill off this Overlord. Blazemire Verge. I'm going to go for the... Can I just play Eject here? Town Greeter's not doing a whole lot. But I don't really have much else to remove anyway. I want to draw. I want to be drawing. They're threatening kill my Hollowmurk Siege next turn and draw some cards, discard some cards. They could also do a Deceit thing. Yeah, I think I'm just going to start swinging while I have it. Let's get rid of this Overlord. Keep them off of that as an option for their Caballero, and then I'll just play a land and play Ject. If they want to... this kind of forces them to, like, rather than deal with the Hollowmurk Siege, or my Earthbender Ascension, deal with Deject instead, which they can do pretty easily here. If they have another land too, they can do like Evoke Deceit and then get the full value off the Caballero with it to clean up a couple of my permanents, but what can you do, you know? Isn't this what we played against match 1? Pretty sure. A lot of grindy decks out there on the ladder right now. Full cast Deceit. Okay. Bouncing. Jacked. Okay. Discarding Jacked. Fair enough. Swing in with the Town Greeter. Fair enough. Summon Fenrir. So we go Summon Fenrir. Draw a card. Kill off the Town Greeter on their turn with the Requiting Hex. Draw a card. Brynhildr. I think I'm going to hold on to that. I could also make an argument for maybe like swinging in here. Killing off their... or exiling something from their graveyard? Yeah, probably not. Let's just pass. I think we just pass. Earthbender Ascension is online now. So any of our land drops will also trigger the siege here. We're grinding. We're at a healthy 17. Pack it in for a long game, folks. Pack it in for a long game, because we're definitely garnering more card advantage than them at this point. But they do have a Wistfulness, so they could shut down my siege here if they wanted to. Hard cast the Wistfulness. Goes to deal with the siege. Goes to deal with the Earthbender Ascension. Okay. Yeah, that probably makes sense. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it doesn't make sense. Because I'm going to start being able to chain a bunch of draws together now. Swinging in with the Deceit. I think I just... maybe I double block this. And then even if they have removal, it's not that big of a deal here. Get this Deceit out of my life. I think that's okay. Hex on my cottage. I will respond with a Hex on my cottage. And by that I mean Hex on their Town Greeter. Essentially just cycling this. Requiting Hex. Not really doing anything otherwise. Earthbend. Cottage comes back. Fenrir dies. Not a big deal. We have a way to trigger our siege anyway. Another Fenrir. Well, let's go for the Brynhildr first. See if we hit anything relevant. Draw a couple cards. Another Restless Cottage in hand. Stomping Ground in hand. Yeah, they have a pretty big board, huh? Play a Fenrir. Grab another land. Play this Stomping Ground. Tapped. Pass it to ya. Yeah. Their stuff is a lot bigger than mine. That's going to be a bit of a problem for sure. They don't have great targets for the Caballero quite yet. Another Wistfulness. It's so good against me. No. Okay. Well, we have the deadly cover-ups in the sideboard for a reason. Let's just go to game 2 here. Pretty much out of this. Nothing I can really do against a huge board like that. Bring in the Graveyard Hate. Bring in the deadly cover-ups. Let's go down on the hexes. I don't think we need any. Even if they have those oblivious, like, bookworms. Yeah, I don't know. Who cares? Not really what we need to concern ourselves with. Let's go down on the Odin. That's what we cut last time. Go down on... yeah, we want the sieges. Maybe the FOMOs are a little small potatoes and not that likely to swing in, really. Yeah, try it like that. Yeah, I think this is okay. Guaranteed deadly cover-up cast. We don't have red, but we can get it off our 3 drops here. It's all right. No early interaction. Would be nice to have maybe like an intimidation tactics or some graveyard hate or something, but should be decent. Still not convinced on Jacked. In this build specifically, I like it in the Rakdos build, which is just like more all in on this idea. Plays a more aggressive game plan, but here, I don't know. Often we're finding it just enter and like do nothing and die. It has flipped a couple times, and when it does flip, it seems pretty good, but maybe it's a bit win more. Opponent mulligans. Leads on an Undercity Sewers. Forest. Pass it back to you. We get to earthbend this cottage again, which is kind of big game. Earthbender Ascension is such a house of a card. I went F&M story time. I went 3-1 yesterday. I played my Bright Glass control deck. This time on 4 Earthbender Ascension, a much cleaner list. 4 Day of Judgment, 4 Earthbender Ascension, 4 Bright Glass Gearhulk, 4 Peter Parker's Camera, just leaning in on the like 4 Seam Rips and 4 Aang's Iceberg idea, and then some one-of fun-ofs for Gearhulk here and there. But man, like the high of Earthbender Ascension on Valgavoth's Lair will never get old. I mean, just, you know, I also have 4 Bossing Say to Earthbend the Valgavoth Lairs, which you can find off the Gearhulks, Hexproof Earthbent land, pretty crazy. And it just closes out games. And I had a great run, like I said, 3-1. I lost to Simic Ouroboros. It was crazy, being on like 4 board wipes and 2 split ups in the side. But we went to game 3, and in game 3, I keep a pretty questionable hand. They might be on a null here. I want to get the Brynhilder online to be able to do my eject thing next turn. I'm going to go for the Fenrir right now. Kind of curious to know what they have. It could be nothing. Grab another red source here, so we can eventually cast. I might just be doing the eject thing this game. Fenrir, another Brynhilder on top. Okay, so I keep a pretty questionable hand. I don't have a whole lot of interaction, and I'm on the play because I won game 1 and they won game 2. And I'm like, okay, I'm on the play, right? I should be kind of doing okay with, I think I have like an Earthbender Ascension, maybe a Gearhulk. Maybe even have a Day of Judgment. I don't really remember. That might have like pushed me toward keeping the hand. And they go turn 1 Elf, turn 2 Badgermole Cub into Badgermole Cub. Turn 3, cast a Nature's Rhythm for Bright Glass Gearhulk. They go land, so they have three lands. Nature's Rhythm for Nature's Rhythm for Craterhoof, and have 2 Cubs left to attack with for lethal on turn 3. And they don't. The crazy thing to me is going for eject. The crazy thing to me is they didn't have to tap out and use all their resources to cast a Craterhoof. They cast a Nature's Rhythm for X equals 8, which is 2 more mana. So they had access to 11, I think 11 or 10 or 11 mana on turn 3. I mean, obviously Nature's Rhythm X equals 8 is 10 mana, but I kind of think they had another. No, it must have been a full tap out. So 10 mana on turn 3, and 2 attackers because of the way Badgermole Cub works, right? Which is ridiculous. And yeah, they just killed me on turn 3. Now, had I kept some interaction, I you know, once again, questionable keep. I should have mulliganed. By the way, opponent just scooped to the combo, so during my story time too. Yeah, I guess sometimes the hasty jack do be doing it. On to game 3 here, just like that. Turn 3 Craterhoof. I used to do that to people in Modern in like 2015 with Nykthos and crazy like Arbor Elf Garrick lands or Garrick hands. Pretty good hand here. Gonna keep this. But for it to be happening in Standard, and also how many cards did it cost? Like 3 lands, so they would have drawn 3 cards, so 10 to work with. 3 lands, 2 Cubs and an Elf is 6 cards, plus a Nature's Rhythm. So they only needed 7 cards to pull that off, right? How often are they killing people on turn 3 with this deck? Like, you could do it on the play. It's not that I think turn 3 kills are inherently bad for Standard necessarily, but classically, when these things are possible in Standard, it's with something that's relatively inconsistent and dies to removal. So take the most recent example being the like mono red leyline decks, which used to be able to produce turn 2 kills, and turn 2 kills are still somewhat possible in Standard, but they're highly inconsistent. Turn 3, like with a strategy that otherwise doesn't crash and burn, you know, where they're just playing good. Like, if you think about it, Badgermole Cub is a value card, kind of. It's kind of like an inherent 2-for-1. It ramps you, you know, but you're like playing this value card that enters, leaves behind a body when you kill it, and also is capable of like leading to hands that kill you on turn 3. It's just the fact that it's all of these things is sometimes a little frustrating. Go for the Brynhilder here so I can haste up this Fenrir next turn, or this Fenrir next turn. Pretty good curve out for us here. My opponent seems to have kept a questionable hand. Doesn't really super matter what we grab. I guess a forest, since all of the rest of our lands in hand are Rakdos sources. Hasty Fenrir is pretty good. What did you keep, my friend? Listen to this heavenward howl, dude. We're swinging in big time. Just gonna go for another Fenrir. Big ramp. Oh! Bopya. I guess I play a Brynhilder as well. Pretty sweet. Yeah, it turns out we can have some kind of aggressive starts if our opponents stumble. Kind of seems like it's going to be a 2-2 for us. Which is exactly where this deck should be. An even 50-50, perfect, beautiful Jund win percentage. Brynhilder on top. They scoop it up. Wow. Kind of ranch them in games 2 and 3, huh? You love to see it. So, sorry about all the yapping. I don't know. Story time is story time. It happens. You got to see the ranching in the background. Let's head into the final match here. See if we can get a 3-2 over the course of 5 matches here. Match 5 on the play. Yeah, I'm gonna keep this. It's decent. We need to draw a red source, but I like that we have tactics on turn 1 here. Pretty decent in the meta, I think. Llanowar Elves. Okay. Quite the hand from our opponent. Selesnya Landfall. Glad to be able to mix it up a little here. Scavenging Ooze might be kind of clutch in this matchup. Earthbender Ascension of our own. Go for the Skoos. Clean up their little fetches from the graveyard. Pretty nice. They decide to leave the escape tunnel in play. Interesting. Hollowmurk Siege. I think it makes sense to go for that right now. There's maybe an argument even for like going for the Menace Counters mode, but I think I'd like to be able to access some card draw. in the future. Makes my Earthbender Ascension better next turn. Speaking of turn 3 kills in Standard, a new deck seems to be taking the Pro Tour yesterday. It seems to have taken the Pro Tour yesterday by storm. We'll see how it continues to perform, but Dimir Harmonizer, a deck list after my own heart. Love me some Mightform Harmonizer. They're playing, and I'm not sure how, we haven't discovered this quite yet. Maybe someone out there has. Certainly is possible. Full Bore, the 2-mana instant from Badgermal Cub. The 2-mana instant from Edge of Eternities to give a warped creature 3/2, trample, and haste. There's the Ice Till. Go ahead and exile this Escape Tunnel. Which, you know, leads basically to a pretty consistent turn 4 kill. But theoretically, I mean, if you had like a Llanowar Elf, there's no reason that you couldn't do this as soon as turn 3 even, where you warp the Harmonizer, full bore it, play a or warp the Harmonizer, play a Fabled Passage. I guess because Fabled Passage would come in tapped on turn 3. So you could do this in like older formats, like Modern, I suppose. I just realized why you can't do it on turn 3. I guess if you played like a... You could do it on turn 3 if you played a turn 2 Rampant Growth, whatever the new Rampant Growth is. Anywho, what is going on in this match? So they have an Ice Till. They have an Earthbender Ascension. I mean, I gotta kill the Ice Till, right? As much as I would like to Ascension, I can kill the Ice Till and draw off the Hollowmurk Siege here. Is there any reason to discard Eject? Probably fine to discard Eject here. Kill the Ice Till. Just pass. I can get my counter on their turn. I already hit my land drop. Pretty good position for us. There's a Mightform Harmonizer. Hard cast. 1 land per turn. Not busted with the Harmonizer. Anyway. They're calling it Dimir Twin, jokingly too. It seems pretty good. They're more so, rather than doing this like value creature ramp plan, leaning in more so into just heavy interaction for like Badgermal Cub decks. And it's like, you know, seems kind of like a specific meta call, but still, I can imagine that idea having legs more broadly in the meta in the future. Exile a creature here, start getting some draws. Restless Cottage. I think we go for a Brynhilder here. Play it before our land drop. It'd be nice to draw some removal for this Harmonizer. There's a Requiting Hex for the future. Let's go for the Cottage now. Pretty unlikely that they have an answer for the Harmonizer, and then we can, or sorry, for the Brynhilder, and then we can play the Hex next turn as well as this mountain. Just pass. We're in a pretty good spot. We're gaining a little life too. Every turn, drawing extra cards every turn. We have a good piece of removal for keeping them from like buffing up a land really big and killing us. I think I'm supposed to not block this, maybe? I don't know. They'd get an extra counter on something, but does that matter that much? I guess I am supposed to block. Does the extra counter matter that much? Exile the Hydra. They could have like an Overprotect or like a Snakeskin Veil, but that doesn't save the forest, you know? We'll just end up trading. Draw a card here. I mean, this little interaction is really, really nice. Scoos plus Siege. Being able to consistently do this at instant speed, and also the fact that it's just so good in the meta right now. Every deck out there is trying to abuse their graveyard. Trigger the Harmonizer post-combat. Badgermal Cub. Esper Origins. Draw off the Siege. Could use a Bitter Triumph just to clean this up. Or a Summon Primal Odin, perhaps, in the future. I'll just play another Brynhildr here, I think. Clog up the board a little bit. Give it haste. I could go for a haste eject, but they have a big harmonizer here. I think I just need to eventually hit, like, an answer for this harmonizer. Well, there's the Bitter Triumph. Yeah, I'll go for that. Let's discard this Esper Origins. Infinite value. Do they have the Snakeskin Veil? Kind of seems like they do. Okay, that's fine. I'm still kind of hanging out. Pass it back to you. They need a series of good draws here. They don't have any lands in their graveyard for an Ice Till to be good. Sapling Nursery is fine. That's fine. I've never actually played against this card, but them not having land drops right now. I mean, I guess it means they get to swing in freely with these forests, but doesn't matter too much. We'll take it. I'm going to go for a Hex on this Badgermole Cub. Blight onto the Brynhildr that's about to die. We'll draw a card off this Hollowmurk Siege here. Coalstoke Gearhulk. I have Eject in the graveyard. And the Coalstoke gives Death Touch to the creature, so they will have to block, probably. Kind of a huge draw. Intimidation Tactics, kind of a small draw. And my Gearhulk will have haste. That's all pretty nice. Let's go for the Gearhulk here. I think this will be enough to close out the game. I think they're just a little too far behind on resources here. Cast the Gearhulk. It has haste off of Brynhildr. Bring back Eject. It has haste off of Gearhulk, as well as Menace and Death Touch. Swinging with both of my hasty Menace Death Touch creatures. And I don't really think they have a way to win through this. I guess if they draw a fetch, that could be enough. So say they draw a fetch, they get to give their Mightform Harmonizer big and trample. That could be enough. We just have to dodge that, I suppose. Flip our Eject. Pretty fun, pretty cool. Hold on to this Skooz activation. What you got, Fat Ian? Just a land. I don't think that'll be enough. They needed a fetch specifically. Resolve, resolve, resolve. Big Harmonizer. Swinging in. I mean, I could just take it, right? Go to 2. And then they die to haste eject again next turn. Think. Yeah, no reason to block, really. I mean, I guess I could block with Braska's Final Aeon and then just get rid of the Harmonizer forever. Treefolk and Forests. I mean, this has Menace, and this has Menace. Maybe I'm supposed to kill the Harmonizer here. That kind of takes away their ability to win in the long term. I think that's right. Could be wrong, but I think that's right. Exile the Harmonizer. Doesn't super matter what we choose there. This combination of Earthbender Ascension plus Sapling Nursery is pretty cool. Because these forests are kind of like ticking time bombs now. Draw a card. Next creature I cast has haste. Okay. Can I win this turn? I don't think so. I could do another haste eject, but they can just like double block, trigger their forests, get some tree folk. I can swing in with the Gear Hulk. I can make a hasty FOMO and swing with a really large Scavenging Ooze multiple times. I think it probably just makes more sense to set up for the next turn. This turn. Like, play a FOMO. Get rid of this Intimidation Tactics. Just, like, play out a wide board right now. Keep them from getting a bunch of 3/4s. Okay, Hollowmurk Siege is actually really interesting with the FOMO as well. So let's play double FOMO and Fenrir. And then we can do the Hollowmurk Siege on the Abzan side next turn and trigger it a bunch. Play a land. Maybe the Earthbender Ascension is a hasty creature, essentially. So let's go for this. We don't need to leave up the Skoos. I don't think there's anything they could really draw here that leads to them winning next turn. Like a single card. And we are almost guaranteed to, like, find a lethal next turn with the combination of FOMOs and Menace from the Siege and whatnot. Llanowar Elves definitely will not do it. Okay. Howl, draw. Let's go. Let's figure it out real quick, I suppose. We play the Siege. We play the Earthbender Ascension. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 attackers. We'll give a FOMO Menace. Or give the Skoos Menace and they have to, like, double block it. Yeah, that's probably it. I think that'll do it. I'm not going to do the math. I'm just going to see how this plays out. Hollowmurk Siege. On Abzan. Earthbender Ascension. On the cottage here. Grab a swamp. I'm going to shock myself so I can exile 2 things with the Skoos here. Swing with everything except 1 FOMO. Give the Skoos Menace. Exile the Snakeskin Veil. Untap the Skoos. And now the Kolstow Gear Hulk has Menace. And I have another attack with the FOMO here. And they can't kill off my Skoos probably without dying. They're going to make some forests, which will, or sorry, some saplings, which will have indestructible. Okay, they're giving the forests indestructible. Is that right? In this tree folk? I'm not sure that that's correct to do that. That seems premature, because I think it's better for them to re-trigger the landfall off of their forests here. But I get to reswing with this Menace Skoos in this FOMO. I guess that doesn't matter too much, because they just block, block, block. No, I can give the FOMO Menace off of this Hollowmurk Siege. Okay. GG. Interesting game. Interesting game. Our stuff lined up pretty nicely against what they were doing. And hitting the Bitter Triumph for, I guess they had a Snakeskin Veil for the Harmonizer. I think they made a bit of a mistake swinging with a Harmonizer like that. They had a bit of an inevitability that they gave up by sacrificing that Harmonizer. Deadly Cover Up. Heritage Wreck seems pretty good, though. Tactics is pretty good. Keeps me from just straight up dying. Maybe go down. Go up the Pyroclasms. Do we want the Requiting Hexes? Let's go down an Overlord. Go down Primal Odin here, I suppose. Gotta keep a couple hexes on the draw for sure. Maybe all 4. Go down a FOMO. Go down a Brynhilder. Brynhilder dies to our Pyroclasm, so maybe we just want the FOMOs instead. Go down eject. We don't need a whole lot of our top end stuff because they're not really probably going to be on a whole lot of removal for us. Maybe go down a siege. Try it like that. I probably could have cut a land instead. All right. Pretty good hand on the draw here. Intimidation tactics plus some removal follow-up. Oh, Earthbender Ascension. Nice. Go for the tactics. See what you got. There's your Ice Till. Bye-bye, my friend. I love you. And I will miss you. We have Skoos to eat the Esper Origins, which is nice. Probably makes sense to use this window to just... Yeah, it probably makes sense to just cast the Skoos here. We can Hex the Chocobo next turn. Swing it in. Another forest, not bad. Go for a Hex on the Chocobo here. See if they have any response to this. They do. Indestructible. Okay, big Chocobo. Gonna have to deal with that eventually, but not the scariest thing we've ever faced. Exile the Esper Origin, swing in for 2. Not the scariest thing we ever faced. We did keep all of our requiting hexes in, so a lot of hits there. We can probably go for the Ascension next turn to, like, produce a Chumper. And then, I guess, you know, the funny thing is we could have been dead in that window to, like, Harmonizer if I if I swing there and they have Harmonizer and a land drop, which they did have a land drop, I would have just been dead to this Chocobo. So maybe I should have held back a blocker there, just in case. Good thing to think about for the future. Swing it in. Exile the Fabled Passage. Yeah, Skoos is just good in the meta right now. It's just good. Okay. I think I want to go, like... I'm going to go Earthbender Ascension. No, it makes sense to, like, play a mountain. I'm going to deny myself a trigger on the Earthbender Ascension, but it makes sense to play the mountain first. Earthbend this forest so I can hold up Exile and block with this forest. And I think I'm just going to pass. Is that crazy? Get double red online, I suppose. And maybe I swing in with the Skoos. Probably no reason not to swing in with the Skoos. I guess they could have, like, Get Lost on this forest and then Harmonizer fetch. Pretty unlikely. Swang it in. Go ahead and block. Exile something. No reason not to, really. They could go like Ice Till, Fabled Passage, pop off here a little bit. Land. Trigger. Activate the Bossing Say, perhaps. Kind of seems like they don't have a whole lot. Land. Play the FOMO here first. Go for a redraw. Pyroclasm. A little too late, probably. Summon Fenrir. Grab a swamp. I don't think there's maybe much of a reason to shock myself here. Maybe. Maybe I do. Maybe my life total's a bit forfeit at this point anyway. Put a counter on the Skoos, start swinging in. Just gonna have to keep chumping the Chocobo. Well, maybe I triple block. If I triple block, they get to kill a couple things. And then I just die slowly to this bossing say. Yeah, I don't like that. Swing in. Block. Yeah, that doesn't super matter. They'll get to do the thing. Okay, my question is, my question, okay, I'm just going to do this for science. I don't think this is the right play, but I've kind of wondered for a little while, if I exile the land with the Skoos in this position, is it gone forever? I think no, because when this dies or is exiled, return it to the battlefield tapped. But is it... It's moving zones again. That's the thing I'm curious about. So I'm not really sure how this works. I'm just going to try it for science. But it might come back. It doesn't. Sweet. Good to know. Okay. We're learning a lot this video. Esper Origins, Part 1. Good to know. We are learning a lot this video. If I block with the Fenrir, I get Delirium? Which means I get to start killing them kind of quickly. Llanowar Elves. Another Scavenging Ooze. Well, I might as well Pyroclasm, probably. I think I might as well Pyroclasm here. Kill off the Elf. Deny them some mana to work with next turn. I kind of think they have a Snakeskin Veil as their last card, is what that little hover told me. Exile the Esper Origins. That's something I'm definitely going to do anyway. Play a Skoos. And I don't think they have a way to kill me at this point, with only one card left in their hand. So I'm going to exile their Elves and just swing in. Present as fast of a clock as I can. Because they would need, like... Yeah, they just need too many resources to win at this point. And I have a blocker. Land drop. Fire up the Bossing Say. Pass. Well, we have a land drop to give this Skoos trample. And it's ginormous and swinging twice. I guess they have a Saz's Chocobo to block with now. But we can give the Skoos a counter. 1, 2. Yeah, it's not big enough. Alright, pass it back to you. Maybe I should have held the land then. Saved the trample for a more critical turn. Can I force them to give up the Saz's Chocobo? What do I lose in that possibility? So if I, like, swing with everything, untap this Skoos, and they block... Sorry, untap this Skoos. Then I'm threatening, and they block here. I can exile 3 things, and then they block this Skoos. Sorry, I think this is right. So say I attack here, right? I untap this Skoos. It threatens to deal 4 if they don't block it. And then I get to... And they block here, and then they have to block it again with the Saz's Chocobo. Because it'll deal 5 next time. But they get an extra counter. I think this is right. Untap this Skoos. Yeah, we'll see how it plays out. It feels right. They have to block this one, and then they have to block... I don't know, my FOMO? Exile Llanowar Elves. Okay, I guess not blocking with the Forest is an option here. They go to 3. Swing in with the Skoos again. They block with the forest, and then now it does open up a possibility of me dying to Harmonizer plus land drop. Okay. Pass it back to them. Interesting stuff. Well, they are dead next turn if they have nothing. Vivian Reed, they can blow up my FOMO. They can't swing. Blow up my FOMO. I mean, we have a decent amount of top decks that do it here. Any removal piece for the Chocobo, another Earthbender Ascension would do it. Let's exile this Scooze. Restless Cottage, not awful. That's another attacker for next turn. And another counter on this Scooze. Pass it back to you. Interesting games. Interesting games. Activates the Vivian Reed. See what they hit here. Land. No trample on the Chocobo, though. Harmonizer. You're just going to force me to block this? But I could maybe force you to block my Restless Cottage. Depending. Swing in with the Chocobo. Block. I'm going to leave the FOMO in my graveyard, I think. I'm not sure that the extra life matters, and I think Delirium could. Esper Origins, not a bad draw. Can I Esper Origins and also fire up the Restless Cottage? No. It might just be better to fire up the Restless Cottage and swing. Let's do the top end on this. I'm kind of thinking they might still have like a Snakeskin Veil in hand. Hollowmurk Siege. Oh boy, a lot of thinking on this one. Oh, I accidentally clicked through. That's okay. So do I go for the Hollowmurk Siege or the Fenrir? I guess if I present two blockers and they swing, I still have two attackers next turn. And if they roll down the Vivian Reed, that's pretty good for me. I think we go with that. Let's do the Esper Origins. I'm playing around them having Snakeskin Veil as their last card. Grab the Fenrir. Play the Fenrir. Extra bodies. All lethal threats here. Counter on the Esper Modwin. So now they can kill off one of my creatures, but outside of them having a land drop, this is not lethal. Mossborn Hydra, another blocker. Hydra. Esper Origins of their own. Changes the math. Damn. Very back and forth. No attacks. Land drop. Add green. Okay. Land drop. Well, I think what I get to do I get to make them... So if I fire up the cottage and put a counter on the Fenrir, I get to make them block with one of their key guys here. But they're pretty likely to kill me on the backswing because they could just block with the Hydra. Block here. Yeah, I'm not allowed to attack. I think they're going to turn the corner here. Fire up the cottage. Put a counter on it. Give it trample. Swing with everything. They block here. They have to block the cottage with the Harmonizer. Or they could block Fenrir. Yeah. They could block Fenrir with the Harmonizer and block the Hydra with the cottage and live at 1. I guess I just pass. Doesn't feel great. Really tricky stuff, man. Really tricky stuff. Doesn't feel great. We might be going into game 3. We'll be on the play. Destroys my Espermadoin. Escape tunnel. Yeah, that's going to do it. That's going to do it. Huge, huge Hydra. Trampling. And I have to block the Chocobo. Damn. Should I think about Duress? Should I think about Deadly Cover-Up? I kind of want the Summon Primal Odin, maybe. Just more hard removal. We can go down Pyroclasms on the play, I think. And just do, like, our most best proactive plan. Try it like that again. Pyroclasms eventually become pretty bad in this matchup because like they only manage the Chocobos for so long. I think I'll keep this. It's not great. Really need some help, but we have Skoos and a lot of green mana to work with off the Skoos. Could line up nicely to one of their hands. Intimidation Tactics is a pretty good draw. I'm going to go with the Skoos first here. Skoos, and then Skoos Intimidation Tactics. Not bad. Land drop. Llanowar Elves. Land drop. Let's see what you got going on here. Hydra, Ice Till. Well, I can manage the Ice Till with Scavenging Ooze. So I need to take the Hydra here. Pass it back to you. Maybe I should have swung there. Probably. They do get to start doing their thing. There's the Ice Till. Ooh, mills into an Esper Origins, but we can manage that. They put the Escape Tunnel into the graveyard, which is kind of big for us too. They maybe should have thought about holding onto that for a turn cycle. Swing it in. No blocks. Hollowmurk Siege. Kind of a huge draw for us. Go ahead and play that. Now we get to start. I guess we don't get to draw anything quite yet because they don't have any creatures in their graveyard. But we'll eventually be quite good. Just got to take them off of the stuff they have access to right now. And pass it back. Threaten to block this Ice Till, I suppose. Ascension. Chocobo's getting out of hand. Really need to draw into a Hex. See if they have another fetch, or mill into another fetch. Harmonizer in the graveyard. Big for us. Hunter's Talent. Okay. Pretty nice. Still, that's a little fuel for the fire here. We have a lot of draws that bring us back into this. Land is not really one of them. Exile your Harmonizer. Coalstoke Gearhulk. Okay. Play a tapped Blood Crypt and pass. And then in your upkeep, I suppose, before you draw, exile my Skoos to draw. See if I hit removal for your Chocobo before you draw like a Snakeskin Veil. FOMO. Let you draw. Just too many land draws, I think, is what this is going to amount to. We kept a pretty land-heavy hand and drew into a couple along the way. Didn't help too much. Swing it out. Big trampling chocobo. I have to block the chocobo. Ah, man. I thought we were going to win the last game, and I was hoping we would win this one for the 3-2, but we learned a lot on this run. A lot of information acquired. Always nice. I'm not really seeing a path out of this. Just too much pressure too early and no early interaction for it. I feel like that's how I lose a lot of my matches, to be honest with you. It's like I end up keeping just a fine hand when I could have kept a much better one. Is this lethal? It is. GG's. Nice playing with you, Fat Ian. Had a pretty decent run. I think there's some tightening up that you could do of this list. We saw a lot of really powerful synergies with the Hollowmurk Siege and the Skoos. I think, let me go try to piece that together, what that might look like real quick, and I'll break that option down. Okay, I think it'd be something like this. You just cut the red entirely. You lean in on this Hollowmurk Siege idea. You just run the 4 Skoos in the main right now. Once again, I'm pretty sure that's pretty good. And then you have Overlord of the Bailmerk to support like self-mill to set up your Skoos a little better, as well as putting Esper Origins in your graveyard. You still get the like Saga idea off of Esper Origins plus Summon Fenrir. And your overall card quality is just a lot higher here, I think. You're not doing anything cute with the jacked stuff, relying on this like hasty synergy, like this synergy to come up to win your games, and instead you just have this very grindy game plan. 4 Saz's Chocobo to help you in matchups where you need to be a bit more aggressive, and then Luis from downtown draws a card and is payoff for all of this ramp that we're doing. I've seen lists kind of like this. You could also make a pretty strong argument for like 4 Badgermole Cub here, but people are prepared for Badgermole Cub, so there are some reasons not to be on it. I'm gonna try this. Maybe next video even. I'm gonna try something like this and see if it runs pretty well. But for now, thank you so much for watching. If you made it this far, appreciate ya. I'll be posting standard content every day, mostly standard, sometimes Pioneer, or possibly something different in the future. If you like this video, why don't you hit me with a like and subscribe. I'm a small part-time guy here. I mean, posting every day, but relatively new to this YouTube thing, so any support I get from that really helps me out, as they say, or whatever. Having fun doing it, though. If you have any ideas, feel free to leave a comment. Be kind in the comments. I'm not a perfect player or human being. None of us are. But it means a lot to me that you would stick around and watch this through, so hope you have a beautiful day, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.